You'd think the security of knowing that you're not going to be some super mutant's pinata or some raider's lollipop would be enough to guarantee happiness for your settlers in Fallout 4, but that's just not the case. You're going to have to go the extra mile. Happiness is made up of 6 main components, and you can see these at the top of the screen any time that you're in the workshop view. Starting from the left, we've got the amount of people in your settlement at any given time, the amount of food that's available, water for your settlers, the amount of power that's running through that settlement, and a defense rating, as well as beds. And as long as these figures are all harmonious and as long as they're all positive, happiness should at least stabilize or, best case scenario, start rising. As soon as we get negatives in this list, happiness starts to go down, and we're looking at the settlement that I've just put down. You can see that happiness is going down. Obviously that's because of a defense rating of 0. Didn't matter that these people have been living here for God knows how long by themselves. As soon as I take over and become responsible for their day-to-day living, they start to bitch and moan. I've built a guard post and have assigned a guard to it, and you'll notice that the defensive property has risen by 2 as a result. Eventually people will see that there's a guard on duty and the happiness rating will go positive. You will either need to build a settlement beacon to attract people to your new settlements, and this will require power, so make sure a power source is available. Or what you can do is go to other settlements where the numbers are starting to grow and perhaps become unmanageable, and you can send people from one settlement to another. As you can see here, what I do is I walk up to a settler, I select them. By pressing R when I'm facing them, it brings me up a list of my other settlements, and I select the settlement and I send the settler there, and what will happen is in a reasonable amount of time that person will turn up and they'll be ready to assign to new roles. In workshop mode, you can plant any natural food that you've picked up from other settlements or from the wasteland, and once people are assigned to it, you'll notice that that rating starts to rise up as well. And this can be accessed from the resources menu. As far as water goes, you can place taps in the ground, or if you've got natural water, which is a real blessing in this game, you can place one of these suckers down. And it will need power, so you'll need to place a power source reasonably close to get this thing up and running, but this will supply your settlement with 10 units of water. You can drop a generator anytime on your map once you've got the required materials from the power menu, and once that's down you'll need to set up some pylons and power conduits to send power off to the particular things that need it. Power's not a big priority from the go-get. In fact, you could probably build an entire settlement without any real power, although night times will be dark and long. However, you will need a generator if you want to get lights running. Many of the turrets will require a power source in order to work. And building beds is as simple as going to the furniture menu and choosing a bed from the list. You only need cloth to build a mattress lying on the ground, so it's not a big requirement. Look, all that money, all that pre-war money that you've been fighting in the wasteland that you learned to ignore in Fallout 3 actually can be converted into cloth in Fallout 4, so you probably want to start hoarding that stuff, and you'll be surprised how quickly you run out. As a general rule, I build my settlements for 20 people. I make sure there's enough food, enough beds, and enough water for 20 people to safely live there, and a nice solid defensive rating. I want at least 4 settlers assigned to defensive posts. I want some turrets up. What this means for me is that I can walk away from that settlement and I can go out and explore without constantly being pulled back to manage food supplies or to create beds for people because too many people have arrived and the settlement can't support the growth in numbers. It also gives me a little resilience when it comes to dealing with the never-ending wave, the relentless wave of attackers from super mutants and raiders and synths out there in the wasteland as well. Once you've got so many settlements that it becomes too arduous a task to jump from place to place to figure out exactly what's going on, take a look at your Pip-Boy and you'll have a heads-up display of exactly what's going on, at least in terms of happiness and resources. And from here you can prioritize. You can look at the places that may be in trouble. If you get a warning that one of your settlements has just been hit and that you have failed to defend it, you can at least get an idea of the shape they're in just by looking at the details in your Pip-Boy. Just be warned that these figures aren't always accurate. In fact, I'd say they're probably about 60% at best. But when it comes to managing multiple sites at once, it'll at least give you some information about what may be going on and where you need to be prioritizing your time.